What is going on, guys? We are back with the weigh-in recap for this weekend's fight. UFC Vegas 110, David Onama taking on Steve Garcia. We got a heavyweight co-main event with Waldo Salsa Boy taking on Ante DELIJA. Should be a pretty fun card. I know that, there's not a lot of stars on this card, but I like the matchups. I think we're going to have a lot of finishes too. Let's see how these fighters looked on the scales, see the rehydration, the face-offs, and then we'll ultimately lock in our picks, go over the parlays at the end of the video. So make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe to the channel, and let's get the weigh-in recap underway. First fight of the night, we got ALENCAR taking on Ariana CARNELOSSI. I did pick CARNELOSSI, but again, I'm not 1,000% certain that she wins. Things in these types of matchups can happen. Really weird things can happen in these types of matchups. ALENCAR is the better jiu-jitsu practitioner, but again, her wrestling isn't that impressive to me. Although CARNELOSSI does have like a 15-16% takedown defense, I do think she can out muscle her. She is physically stronger, at least from the side of it. But I think CARNELOSSI can mix it up on the feet a lot better than what ALENCAR is. ALENCAR, she throws a lot of overhand rights just to get her entries for her takedowns, but again, her takedowns aren't really that impressive. She does rely on more so like trips rather than single legs or double legs, things of that order. I think CARNELOSSI can defend a couple of them. I don't rate ALENCAR high at all. I do think CARNELOSSI could beat her. Does she do it? I don't know. But again, I'm going to rock with CARNELOSSI. I think I favor the stand-up on her side more than I favor ALENCAR. So that's going to be the official pick. I'm not hanging my hat on it or anything like that, but let's go with CARNELOSSI. Let's get a look at them on the scales. We can see TALITA here looking pretty solid, 115. No fighter missed weight, so really, happy about that. Even though we do have a catch weight on this bout because of the short notice with Cody Durden and Alan NASCIMENTO, still respect it. Both guys made weight, whereas I believe the past two cards we had like two missed, or we had a couple people miss weight on those cards. So back to action, everybody getting it right. And here is CARNELOSSI. Doesn't she look like her name is like Connor? When I saw her weigh in, because I watched the weigh in this morning, I thought, man, that looks like a Connor if you've never seen one. But she's jacked, especially for this division. She looks strong. She looks ready. And here is the face-off. I don't know, man. I think CARNELOSSI can bully her. I'm not. I think it's ALENCAR's time, to take another L. I think CARNELOSSI could give it to her. I'm not certain about it. The odds have definitely dropped. ALENCAR opened minus 500. She's down to minus 225. Yeah, everybody's betting on CARNELOSSI because of the visual appearance of her. Plus 385 at open. She's down to plus 190. Hey, she could go out there and shit the bed, but let's see what props we got available for her. Over 2.5, absolutely, unless CARNELOSSI gets like a knockout or anything like that. What is TALITA by sub? Plus 325. ALENCAR TKO plus 950. ALENCAR decision minus 105. Probably what's going to end up happening. CARNELOSSI decision plus 450. I think she could get it done, man. I'm going Ariana CARNELOSSI. Not certain about it, but I'm fading TALITA ALENCAR. It is what it is. Next fighter in the card, we got Phil Rowe taking on Suk Young Ko. Phil Rowe was the last fighter to weigh in, but there was no issues with him. I've seen a couple comments talking about he had diarrhea or something like that, but he looked perfectly fine, ready to go, ready to rock. I'm still rocking with Suk Young Ko. I think the wrestling advantage is just too significant in this fight. Whereas we've seen Phil Rowe very accepting of grapplers taking him down, spending time on his back, trying to get the jiu-jitsu going. I do think Phil Rowe is a really good fighter. I know his record doesn't really signify that, but he has really good boxing. He's got a really sizable reach advantage in this matchup, and the height is pretty significant too, especially when we see the face-offs. But I think Suk Young, that grinder style that he had against Oban Elliott, I think he's going to be able to implement it here against a guy who's really comfortable fighting off of his back. We saw the Angelusa fight where he got taken down for those first 2 rounds and really couldn't really do much after being taken down. That 3rd round, he did have the comeback and was able to get the knockout, but I think Suk Young Ko is a lot better than Angelusa. Let's get to the scales for these two. Phil Rowe came in 171, I believe. He looks shredded. He looks great. Definitely one of the best weight cuts I've seen from him. He kind of looked like this in that Angelusa fight as well. Here is Suk Young. Looks pretty good. Looks solid as well. And here's the face off. Here's the height advantage I was telling you about. But you could definitely tell, Suk Young is a little thicker. Phil Rowe's got that long, lean muscle on him. He's really tough, man. I really like him. I know a couple people that have trained with him as well. He's a nice boxer. He's got really slick jiu-jitsu too, but I don't think we've seen Phil Rowe win by submission in the UFC, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. Oh no. Yeah. Yeah, I was right. No subs in the UFC. Yeah, no subs. Had to double check on that. But yeah, if you look, he's grappled with Gordon Ryan. He's grappled in that matchup with Neil Magny. Craig Jones lost there, but I don't think Phil Rowe is going to find something off of his back. Now, that third round could definitely get interesting. We'll look at the props. Phil Rowe plus 150, minus 175. There's been some love on Phil Rowe's side. Did open up at plus 175. I want to say earlier this week. Thought it was a little wider than that. Suk Young, I believe, opened at, minus 200. So, there's been a little bit of love. Now at minus 175. Suk Young by decision. Probably my official call. Plus 150. Suk Young by TKO plus 280. Phil Rowe sub plus 1200. If you do think he could throw something up with like those long legs or maybe a ghillie off of his back, Suk Young by sub plus 1000. Phil Rowe third round plus 1000, plus 1600 on whatever book this is, Bovada. So if you think he's got that third round upside, which he definitely does, can turn it on late. We saw that with the wrestling approach from Angelusa last time, but Angelusa doesn't have the control that Suk Young Ko has that I've seen so far. So I'm going with Suk Young Ko, official pick. I do think he gets it done via decision. Next fight, we got Elise Ardellean taking on Montserrat Conejo Ruiz. I'm picking Ardellean. I've picked her in her last two fights. That Melissa Martinez fight, I really didn't think she lost. And then, she won the Rayani Dos Santos matchup for us last time out. I think she's got a strike speed advantage. She's more well-versed. I think she's the better MMA fighter, whereas we look at Conejo. Yeah, she has a little bit of wrestling, but it's not that great, honestly. She has one go-to move, and if she's unable to get it, she's getting TKO'd. Amanda Lemos TKO 4 years ago, Amarim TKO, and then Eduardo Mora last time out. Granted, all three of these fighters are they're far superior in like jiu-jitsu, and probably, I wouldn't say Amarim's wrestling is better than Ardellean's, but definitely Mora and Amanda Lemos is pretty sneaky too. She can do some trips and like clinch positions. But I think Ardellean, even if she does get taken down, she'll be able to get back up to her feet. I like her striking. I think, like I said, the strike speed advantage. I think she can mix it up really well, and she can implement her own takedowns as well. So I think Elise Ardellean can win. I'll say by decision, and that's gonna be the official pick. Here's Canelo rocking the bob. I like me a bob. I gotta be honest. My lady just cut her hair into a bob. I told her, finest thing on earth. But bobs are good. But I don't think Ruiz is gonna be winning this weekend. Here's Ardellean looking like somebody's auntie grandma, but she's ready to rock. She's ready to fight. Here's a face off. You can see a slight little height advantage for her. Definitely, I wouldn't say leaner, but the skinnier frame of the two. I think she wins. She was a big favorite. She still is minus 400, minus 500 at an open, but yeah, stayed the same. Stayed pretty consistent throughout the week. Plus 300 for Ruiz. Ardellean via decision, or over 2.5, minus 265. Ardellean by decision, minus 145. Ardellean inside the distance, plus 190. I think Ardellean gets it done on scorecards. I can see a 30-27 if I'm being quite honest. So Ardellean is the official pick. let's move on to the next fight. We got Ketlen Vieira taking on Norma Dumont, which I thought should have been higher on the card, but this is a really interesting fight. I am picking Norma Dumont. I like her striking from the outside. I think she can also grapple in this matchup. She does have some sneaky jiu-jitsu. I believe her husband or boyfriend is Marco Tullio, who's a really good striker. Some people say he's overrated, but I think he's pretty good. I know that Trayshawn Gore fight was what it was, but I think he's still a good striker. Ketlen Vieira, she mixes it up really well, but she doesn't have the movement that Norma Dumont has. Norma will, pick you apart from the outside, and I think that's going to give Ketlen a lot of issues. We go back and look at that Macy Chiasson matchup. Macy likes to get in like to the pocket, clinch, do some dirty work, take you down, things of that aura, and that's what Vieira is really comfortable with. I think when she's fighting somebody that likes to stick on the outside, it could give her a little bit of trouble. Pennington doesn't really strike from the outside, but she does have some decent boxing. And then Kayla Harrison's Kayla Harrison, so it is what it is. But I do think Norma Dumont wins by decision. I think she's going to be the cleaner striker. I think she could defend the takedowns, and I think she can do some damage in a clinch of her own. So going with Norma, and let's get to the scales. Here is Norma looking amazing on the scales. Here's Ketlen. She looks solid. I don't really see like a physicality change with her. And here's the face off. You see Ketlen slightly taller. Pretty intense face off. But yeah, I'm still rocking with Norma. I think she gets it done. And she swole just a little bit, minus 170 on the money line, plus 145 for Vieira. Over 2.5 is definitely what I would say. Minus 410. Yep. I see it going to the scorecard. It could be a split. So let's see. Fight ends via split. Plus 350. I would have liked some better odds. Dumont decision, minus 115. I don't see a finish coming in this one. Vieira submission plus 1100. I don't think so. Let's see the spread. Ketlen minus 275 for the 5.5, minus 210 for the 3.5. Yeah, I'd stay away from the prop betting side. I do think Norma Dumont wins though. Let's get to the next fight. We got Dante Johnson versus Cedriquez Dumas, half for the lock of the week. And I just realized, man, we have yet to hit a parlay lock of the week in the Apex. So I'm definitely looking to break that streak with this one here. Got a lot of confidence with Dante Lockjaw Johnson. I hope he's coming to take Dumas' head off. Looks amazing. It looks like he's in amazing shape. Cut down to 184. Dumas, he looks as he looks, man. He's a solid looking guy, but all the legal troubles, the money troubles, him not training consistently, and every time that we've seen him, we have not seen any improvement. I can't pick him here. I think Dante Johnson is going to take his head off. I think he knocks him out within the first 6.5 minutes. So Dante Johnson, half of the lock of the week to get it rolling. Here's Dumas. I mean, he looks all right. What can I say? I do think, a loss here, especially a finish, he's getting cut by the UFC. So I'm hoping Dante Johnson is the guy to do it. Here he is. You can see the physical transformation. If you go back and look at him on the Contender Series, definitely looks a lot better. Here's the face off. So the height advantage doesn't really look that bad. I know he's listed at like 5'8", 5'9", and Dumas is listed at like 6'2", but it doesn't look that bad at the face off. So I think Dante's going to find his chin, no worries. And we've seen him fight, taller guys. I believe not the Contender Series fight. Was it? I think it was James Ford. I think he was like 6 something. James Ford is what? He was 6 feet. Okay. Not that much taller, but he's seen taller guys before. And he's carrying a lot of power. He used to knock out heavyweights damn near. So I think Dante Johnson is going to look good. Minus 350, plus 285 on the money line. Dante Johnson via knockout is obliterated. That line has been obliterated. Where is it? Minus 225. Dumas. I mean, what's the Johnson sub plus 900. Does he have any submission wins? Nope. Ground and pound or knockout. Yeah, this dude's coming to bring the hammer. I think he gets it done. It could be the first exchange, honestly. I don't think Dumas is there to hang around. If he gets hit, we've seen him duck before. I think he's gonna be ducking this time around. So Dante Johnson, half of the lock of the week. And next fight, we got Timmy CUAMBA taking on Chang Ho Lee. I wanted to wait for the weigh-ins for this one, and I gotta be quite honest. Timmy looks really, really small. Like it looks like he could have cut down to damn near 125. He's never been a big, featherweight. When he fought at featherweight, he wasn't a big lightweight either. But he does look shredded at 135. But if you look at like his side portfolio, he looks like as flat as my hand. That's how skinny he looked. Frame is small, man. I gotta be honest. Chang Ho Lee definitely looked like the more natural bantamweight. So I do have a little bit of issues about the physicality in this fight because we know what Chang Ho Lee likes to do. He wants to walk forward, he wants to close distance, he want to get in that clinch, and he could definitely muscle some guys around. Granted, we've only seen him do that with Romeo, but Romeo wasn't a large guy either. Romeo was what, 5'4". Okay, so he was a little smaller than Timmy. Timmy is 5'9". Okay, never mind. Yeah, completely off. But he should have a strength advantage. Timmy should have a strength advantage cutting down the bantamweight. He's fought at two different weight classes, but I don't know, man. Something's telling me not to fade Chang Ho Lee again. I'm gonna stick with Timmy, but I do think this could be a back and forth fight. I can see both of these guys probably getting sliced up. Timmy has been dropped a couple of times. This is a fun fight. Definitely gonna be high action, high pace. We see what Chang Ho Lee likes to do. Timmy's pretty quick from the outside. We'll see, man. Here's Chang Ho Lee. Definitely looks like he's ready to go. I actually been watching his Instagram post for a couple of months now, waiting to see what he had next. I wanted to see what the line was gonna be on him after that Romeo's performance. But this is a fair matchup. This is a fair matchup. I gotta be honest. CUAMBA has seen the better competition, but I don't know. Him dropping down the bantamweight is interesting. So here's the side portfolio I was trying to like tell you about. He's like built like a little kid. You know what I'm saying? Like his chest hasn't come in. He looks like he's skin and bones compared to Chang Ho Lee, who looks more like a man at 135. Timmy looks like a little boy. Look at his shoulders. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know, man. I don't know. You know what? Do I pick flip? Let's look at the odds. Let's look at the odds. I kind of want to pick flip. I haven't looked at the odds yet. Let's see. Minus 101, minus 119. It's a coin flip, no matter which way you call it. Over 1.5, minus 425, 425 over 2.5, minus 185. I don't know. Goes the distance, minus 165. CUAMBA decision plus 145. CUAMBA TKO plus 385. Chang Ho Lee. What if he gets him down? He doesn't have the best control. But in that clinch is what I'm. Timmy's he's not chinny. He's been hit by some power punchers. Like Lucas Almeida has power. He's not fast, but he does have power. I don't know, man. I'm a I'm a rock with CUAMBA. I like his offensive wrestling better. I think he can handle the blitzes from Chang Lee. I think he could counter him on the entrances. But it's definitely gonna be a close fight in my opinion. I'm a rock with Timmy. I think he gets it done. Parlay buster alert. That's what I'll say. I know I don't have him in any plays, but definitely a parlay buster. Um, fight right there, in my opinion. Kevin Christian taking on Billy ELEKANA. Billy ELEKANA should run through Kevin Christian. If you look at him on the scales too, he doesn't really look like he really put in any effort on the weight cut. Like he probably just walks around at like 207. You know what I'm saying? Tall, lean guy, but his striking is not good. Doesn't really use his range to his advantage, and he's not going to have a significant reach advantage in this fight with Billy with a 77-inch reach. Billy can definitely get down and dirty. I think he could take Kevin Christian down whenever he wants in this fight because Christian is so willing to fight off of his back, throw up submissions off of his back. I think Billy will be the one on Kevin Christian's back, and I think he could sub him first or second round. We've seen Billy start fast. If you go back and look at that Bogdan Guskov fight, he had his back within the first 90 seconds. So I think he could do something similar here with Kevin Christian, who's overthrowing a lot of his shots, getting put in like clinch scenarios. I don't see his striking to be on par with Billy's, even though Billy isn't that great of a striker either. We did see him, pick apart Ibo Aslan in that very low output fight. I think Billy ELEKANA wins here. I think he wins by submission. So here's Kevin Christian. Doesn't really look, great. I mean, he looks like he's ready to go, but no definition to the muscles. His chest is flat as could be. You know what I'm saying? Does have some big hands, though, I'll tell you that much. He does have some big fists. You can definitely see the fist on him. Here's Billy. May weight, no issues. And here's the face-off. I wish he would have got a little closer, but watching it live, you could tell he's 6'7". You know what I'm saying? I think Billy wins. I think he's winning by submission. Billy minus 260 on the money line, plus 220 for Kevin Christian. Billy by sub is plus 550. Christian by decision, or excuse me, Billy by decision plus 300. Let's see, under 2.5 minus 175. I do think we're getting a finish in this one. I do think it's Billy by submission. So let's see, Billy submission round 1, plus 1200. Yeah, the way that he was able to get to Bogdan's back, I think he could get to Billy's back that quick too. So give me Billy. Even if it's not his back, I can see maybe like an anaconda, or not an anaconda, excuse me, an arm triangle from top position with a guy who's willing to fight off of his back. I think Billy's allowed to win by submission, and that is the official pick. NASCIMENTO taking on Cody Durden to open up the main card. If you guys haven't already, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. I'm picking Alan NASCIMENTO, but again, this is another parlay buster alert. In my opinion, I like Cody Durden striking, especially when they mix it up in the pocket. I favor his speed. I think he's a better kickboxer. I will favor NASCIMENTO's pure jiu-jitsu. I think he can get Durden down pretty easily with the mistakes that he makes at times. But Cody Durden is a pretty decent wrestler. I wouldn't say he's the best, but I don't think he's going to engage in wrestling against NASCIMENTO where that's where he wants the fight to go. You know what I'm saying? So I think if Durden can defend the takedowns, yes, it's short notice. Durden has been taking a lot of damage recently, but this isn't a fight where he's going to be, slugging it out with Joshua Van or slugging it out with Jose Ochoa. NASCIMENTO's not that fast on the feet. His striking is decent enough, but I don't know. Cody Durden, man, he's got that dog in him. I think he's live in this fight. Don't know if he wins, but I do think he can make it interesting. So NASCIMENTO is the pick. I more so believe in Durden more than NASCIMENTO, but it is what it is. 130 catch weight. Here's Cody. May weight, no issues. 130 on the dot. And here's Allen. Definitely looks to be in better shape, but he was preparing for a fight. He was supposed to fight Estevam, which probably would have been a better matchup. Estevam has not made weight in the UFC yet. I think he made weight in his last fight, but other than that, he's been, missing weight left and right. Here's the face-off. Durden, slight height advantage. We could definitely see who's been training for a fight, though. I think Durden makes it interesting in the first round. Maybe he gets gassed, later into that round if he's too explosive early and spending time on his back, things of that order. I do think NASCIMENTO could grapple him up. It's either NASCIMENTO by sub or Durden inside the distance, in my opinion. NASCIMENTO minus 300, Durden plus 250. Under 2.5, minus 110. So coin flip odds on the over under. NASCIMENTO sub is plus 150. Durden TKO plus 600. Durden inside the distance plus 525. NASCIMENTO sub round one. What is that? Plus 400. I don't know, man. I think Durden makes it fun for however long that'll last. So next fight, we got the other half of the lock of the week. Charles Radtke taking on Daniel Frunza. You know the lock of the week. We got the under 2.5 in this fight and Dante Johnson on the money line plus 105. But the odds have changed. If you guys didn't get in on it when I gave you guys the play, sitting at like minus 103 now, I believe, or something like that. But Charles Radtke, Daniel Frunza. I'm picking Frunza. I think Frunza will be able to strike from whatever range this fight is going to take place at, whereas Radtke is more so, he's more dangerous in that red zone. I think Frunza could pick him apart before getting to that red zone, and when he does enter the red zone, I like the knees, I like the elbows, whereas Radtke is more so mixing it up with his boxing. One thing I will say is that Radtke does have wrestling in his back pocket, but we have not seen him use it after getting knocked out or since he's been in the UFC. So I don't expect him to do it here. If he does, will be interesting, will be, you know, something that we haven't seen from Charles Radtke, which can also gas him out. So granted, he does wrestle, or excuse me, he does train with, you know, the camp out in I believe Chicago. Yeah, with Bilal Muhammad, MMA Masters. So they got some good guys over there. I do know Radtke is capable of wrestling. Don't know if he does exactly, but I am picking Daniel Frunza to win. I think whoever wins this fight is definitely going to be within the first 2.5, or excuse me, 2 rounds via knockout. So let's get to the scales. Here's Frunza. Looks solid on the scales. You can definitely tell, you know, he probably cut a little more weight than he did for contender series in this fight. And then here's Radtke flipping the birds as always. Hey man, I like Charles Radtke's attitude. He definitely just walks forward and bangs. Something that I respect for him. No shaking of hands. No shaking of hands on this one, but I like this matchup. It's definitely a fun welterweight event. Excuse me, welterweight fight. But whoever wins is definitely going to be by knockout, in my opinion. Radtke minus 170, Frunza plus 145. Let's see. Over under 205 is not minus 105, whereas earlier the week it was plus money. Frunza TKO or Frunza inside the distance plus 220. Frunza TKO plus 225, so same thing. Radtke TKO plus 225. Radtke inside the distance plus 110. What's Radtke by submission? Plus 550 if you think he goes to the wrestling. Frunza has not had a submission victories at submission losses. So if he goes to the wrestling in this matchup and you think he can, and you think he's, you know, locking up a choke or something. Let's see. Does Radtke have any submissions? Yep. He's got 2 sub wins. Maybe he changes the approach. Did some grappling not too long ago with Eric Anders, who is a middleweight. Maybe you think he changes the approach, man. Either way, I think this fight ends inside the distance, which is why the lock of the week is under 2.5 and Dante Johnson money line. So let's get that locked in. Next fight, we got Isaac Delgarian taking on Yadier Del Valle. I think Delgarian's the right pick here. His wrestling is a little too polished for Del Valle, who will, you know, jump Gilly in those positions. The front headlocks will be there. His power, I think, is overrated a little bit. Does throw a lot of volume, will stand and bang with you. But if you go back and look at the contender series fight, Monteiro, dude was gassed after the first round, and Yadier was unable to put him away. So makes me really question his power looking back at that. And then the Conor Matthews fight, we've seen Conor Matthews knocked out quite a lot. We also picked Yadier by knockout, but he got it done via choke. So right before that, Conor Matthews was knocked out by Jose Delgado, knocked out by, excuse me, Bazookia. So he's been finished or knocked out prior, and then Valle subs him up. I think he dropped him probably once or twice in that first round, but he favors grappling. Definitely wants to find a submission. I think if he's going back to that bad habit of jumping the gilly against Dulgarian, he's not going to be able to get back to his feet. Dulgarian is very punishing from top position. Beat C-Rod, granted he did it. Francis Marshall TKO was vicious, and then last time out got the sub over Brendan Marodi. So Dulgarian could definitely finish his fight. Whoever wins, I do think it's inside the distance. I think Dulgarian is solid. Here they are on the scales, 146 for both gentlemen. Valle looks good, and Dulgarian looks good as well. Definitely a grapple heavy fight in my opinion. You see the face off. Valle is slightly taller. Oh, I think he had shoes on, but doesn't really matter how tall you are when you're under a wrestler. I think Dulgarian gets the finish. Not sure how he gets it done, but I think Dulgarian finishes. Minus 240 on the money line, plus 205 for Valle. And let's see, Dulgarian inside the distance, minus 110. Dulgarian TKO plus 215. Sub plus 350 to Valle. Submission if you think he's going to lock up that front headlock, plus 700. Dulgarian round 2 plus 425. When have his finishes come? I think Marshall he finished in the first round. Yep, first round, round 2 for Brendan. And then everything prior to that was round 1. So he blew his load against C-Rod. Almost had him out of there, but C-Rod, man, he's able to pick off these prospects one by one. I think Dulgarian gets it done inside the distance. Featured fighter tonight, we got Jeremiah Wells taking on Mamba Gorimbo. I've been picking Mamba Gorimbo all week. I think he's far better of a fighter than Jeremiah Wells, who we have seen time and time again fall over himself for takedowns and swing himself out of position. Getting choked by Carlson Harris does not tell me you're going to be on the UFC roster for much longer. I think Timber Gorimbo is better everywhere. I think he's the better striker. I think he can wrestle better than Jeremiah Wells. Jeremiah Wells is very top-heavy strong, will resort to the jiu-jitsu a lot of times. I think he get picked apart here. I think Timber Gorimbo knocks him out within the first 2 rounds. So, I mean, granted, he could be, taking a wrestle-heavy approach against Jeremiah, but even if he gets him down, I think, a ground and pound is live. If he doesn't get the finish, I think Gorimbo wins no matter what. So it's either going to be KO or decision for me for Timber Gorimbo. I think he's bouncing back. He did speak at his media day about, a couple of injuries that he's had since the Luque fight. I believe he said he walked into that fight with a broken ankle. Sounded like an excuse, but whatever. And then prior to, he said he wanted to fight in March, I believe, but he broke his rib. So I forgot who he said he was supposed to fight, if he did say. But something to mention, I thought, does look like he's in good shape here. I think he's ready to roll. Good timing for him to come back. And it's been, almost a year? Yeah, 10 months. I think he's going to look good. Here's Jeremiah. He looks solid for a 39-year-old. I think the heaviest thing on his body was probably the eyebrows, but I think he's going down. You see the face-off here? Pretty intense. I don't think they shook hands. I think they were staring each other down the whole way. Gorimbo with the slight smirk. Does give me, a little bit of warning, because every time we've seen a guy smirk, they ended up getting colded. But I think Timber should win here. I think he's levels above Jeremiah Wells and rightfully the favorite. If you can see here, minus 135 on the money line. Should be a little wider in my opinion. Plus 115 for Jeremiah Wells. Gorimbo inside the distance is plus 215. Gorimbo TKO plus 300. Jeremiah by sub plus 400. Let's see. Decision plus, or that's unanimous. Plus 235. I think Gorimbo wins. KO or decision. Co-main event of the evening. We got Waldo Salsa boy Cortez-ACOSTA taking on Ante DELIJA. I gotta be honest. After I did the prediction vid, and you guys noticed I didn't put either one of these guys on a most confident or underdog. It's because I think this fight is actually closer than what it is. I do think that Waldo Cortez can survive a storm. We've seen his chin hold up against some of the best of the best. Sergey Pavlovich was unable to really hurt him, and if he did, he wore it really well. Spivak with his striking definitely looked impressive. Spivak's striking looked impressive, and the few times that he did clip Cortez, he was able to roll it off and traded his own flurries. Ryan Spann sat him down with the chaos that Spann brought. The Spain got wrestled up for the majority of the fight. And then Arlovsky, it was, that wasn't the Cortez-ACOSTA that we like to see. But I don't know, man. Ante DELIJA, he presents a different type of speed than a lot of the guys. But I'm also thinking Waldo Cortez's chin has yet to fail him. Does it fail him here? I don't know. Ante is definitely a different kind of dude. I can see this is how the fight plays out in my opinion. It's either Ante brings to Waldo what Sergey Pavlovich was supposed to do, which was the bully, walk forward, throw big bombs, catch Waldo, or he does that and Waldo's able to adapt and trade his own big shots, the big flurries and the exchanges that he has or that they have, and then there's moments where Waldo can lose like a big exchange like that, and then he'll just pick you apart for the rest of the round to make you even forget about it. That's what he did with the Sergey Spivak fight. A lot of people thought that fight was supposed to go to Spivak, but we picked Waldo as an underdog in that matchup too. And that was a big reason where he can just pick you apart. He can chop at the legs. He can jab your face off. I think Ante's going to clinch a lot in this matchup, and maybe he stalls out in the clinch with Waldo being able to defend the takedowns. It's a close fight. Definitely a close fight. I'm going to pick Flip. I'm going to pick Waldo. I think I can't fade him just because we saw DELIJA walk through Marcin Tybura, who is a slow, plodding heavyweight that doesn't move, that doesn't really have good striking. I think Waldo's chin is going to hold up. I think Waldo is going to have the better moments in the fight. And I don't think he's going to get taken down pretty easily. So I'm going Waldo Cortez-ACOSTA via decision, probably split decision if he doesn't get knocked out. And this could come back and kick me, but I am rocking with Waldo. Here's the scales. You see Ante, he looks like he's in really good shape. 237, definitely lean for the heavyweights. And then here's Waldo. He looks more muscular than I've seen him prior. Definitely, you can see the abs starting to come in. He looks like he's a thick heavyweight coming into this matchup. Here's a face-off. No real size advantage. I would say Ante definitely looks more like a, I don't know, more like a, I don't even know how to describe it. I think his frame is just a lot leaner. That's really all I can say. Whereas Waldo is more solid. But Waldo's power is slightly overrated because he throws a lot of, like he'll throw overhand right, but it's not really hurting guys the way that you would expect it. But I think he could put more out there. I like his boxing better than DELIJA's. I think his chin will be able to hold up. Plus 110 for Waldo, minus 130 for DELIJA. Let's see. Waldo by decision. What do we got? Plus 275. We've seen Waldo in boring fights before, you know what I'm saying? DELIJA TKO plus 215. Let's see. What else am I looking for? Split plus 1,000, pretty much on either side. I don't think he's knocking him out in the first round. You know what I mean? I think it's gonna be a close fight. Over 1.5, minus 275. What did that open up at? Minus 220. I don't think he's gonna approach Waldo the same way that he approached Marcin because Marcin can't move and be elusive like Waldo can. You know what I mean? So I am pick flipping, which means I'm gonna have to flip the pick on the parlay. but we'll get there when we get there. Let's get to the main event. Steve Garcia taking on David Onama. If you guys haven't already, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Picking Steve Garcia, I think you got to ride with the momentum. We've seen that he's able to finish guys other than Calvin Kattar, who's a pretty elusive boxer. I do like Onama's technique and you know his tactical abilities. I do think he's a really phenomenal striker, but he takes a while to get going. If you look at the first rounds and majority of his fights, you go back to the Nate Landwehr fight, he was getting pieced up early in that fight. Got dropped a couple of times. Gabriel Santos fight, he got dropped. Pierce fight, I can't remember off the top of my head, but I do remember a lot of scrambles, a lot of wrestling in that fight. Excuse me, Roberto Romero fight, got clipped by that at that point in time they were fighting at lightweight, but he is a featherweight. And we just saw Romero get knocked out by Timmy CUAMBA, who just dropped down to bantamweight. You know what I'm saying? But you can't say on the other side, Steve Garcia has been rocked 5 times. He's been flatlined by Mahashate, but he has looked significantly different at featherweight, putting guys out, Norton back off where he was dropped in that first round. Came back with a beautiful body kick right to the liver and then finished him. Then Melky Costa, who I'm really big on, finishing him, making him wrestle the ref. Impressive. Duo Sungwon Choi finished him a year ago. And then, right, you know what I'm saying? He's putting together finishes back to back to back. And he's not really taking a lot of time off. 2 years, 6 months, a year and 10 months, a year and 3 months, a year and 1 month, and then 3 months ago. He's getting to it. The mean machine is rolling. Gotta ride with him. I think he could finish David Onama. I think this fight is ending within the first 3 rounds. And whoever wins this fight is going to be by a nasty knockout. So here's Onama on the scale. Looks good. Looks ready to roll. Best shape that I've seen him in so far. Here's Steve. He's not the most, jacked and cut up guy, but when he gets rolling, he's ready to go. I would say this weight cut does look better than the one from the Calvin Kattar fight, though. Here's the face-off. These guys are like a mirror, honestly. I would say Steve Garcia is slightly more, or David Onama is more technical, but I'd say Steve Garcia's power and the way that he's able to get some of these shots off is more impressive. So minus 130 for Steve, plus 110 for Onama. Under 3.5, minus 400. Let's see. Fight ends in round 3 plus 500, round 2 plus 300. Steve knockout is minus 105. Onama by knockout plus 175. Onama said he was going to wrestle in this fight. So if you think he gets it done by sub, plus 750. Garcia round 2 plus 500. Garcia round 3 plus 800. Let's see. What else could we get? Garcia round 3 TKO plus 850. Round 2 TKO plus 550. I don't know, man. Calling around on this is crazy. I do think it's under 3.5, however. But the official pick is going to be Steve, the Mean Machine Garcia. And that is it for the official picks for UFC Vegas 110. Let's get to the parlays. Let's start it off. We got Dante Johnson and Billy Elekana sitting at minus 137. Then we're going to Seokyoung Ko, Isaac Delgarian plus 117. Dante Delgarian Billy plus 144. Delgarian Ko Frunza plus 387. Norma CUAMBA, Steve Garcia plus 407. Delgarian, Ko, Frunza, and Billy plus 571. Ko, Gorimbo, inside the distance, under 2.5 in the Frunza versus Radke plus 620. Dante. So this is the play that we need to edit. So we had Dante over 2.5. Dumont versus Vieira. Dulgarian, Garcia, DELIJA, and Elekana plus 830. So I'm gonna make it for you right now, and I'll tell you what the updated odds are. All right, so comment MMP2 if you stayed, because you know we got some edits that we got to do. So we're going Dante Johnson money line. Then we got the over 2.5 in the Dumont versus Vieira. Then we're going Isaac Delgarian, Steve Garcia, and then instead of DELIJA, we're going Waldo, and then we're going Billy ELEKANA. So that brings us to plus 970 rather than a plus 830 with the pick flip of Waldo. If you don't like the pick flip, keep it as DELIJA. You know, we can flip flop if you like that. If you like the DELIJA momentum side better. But I just wanted to put this out there because I am pick flipping. I do think Waldo is live to win that fight. So that's that parlay. And then we close it out with Seokyeon Cole, Dante Johnson, Steve Garcia, and Tumba Gorimbo by knockout, plus 1842 to finish your food and clean your plate. And that is what I got for Makai's money making parlays this week for UFC Vegas 110. I love these fights. I think it's going to be a good action-packed Saturday night. Let me know in the comments what you guys' favorite fight of the night is going to be. Let me know if you're riding with the lock of the week. If you're not, tell me what your lock of the week is. I'm interested to see what you guys got to say. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, drop a W in the chat if you stayed all the way to the end. Support the channel if you want. And I will see you guys for the full card recap. Thank you for tuning in. Peace out.